And here is yet another edition of Science Monitor, your favorite weekly program on science and technology related news. And before we get to all those details on science, let us take a quick look at what's all coming up for you. National Science Day celebrated with full fervour across India. New national mission to sustain Himalayan ecosystem to begin soon. India begins mandatory OPV for travellers. Indian Council for Medical Research issues Moral Code of Conduct for Life Sciences Research. Vigyan Prasar and Nisker launch a video series called Scientifically Yours on Women Scientists. And in our segment In Focus, we take a look at the contribution of women and the challenges they face in the field of science education. And now the news in detail. National Science Day was celebrated on 28th of February all over the country. Number of programs were organized on the occasion. The main function was organized in Delhi's Technology Bhavan, where national awards were distributed to spread scientific awareness in the country. Let us take a look at this report.
The nation celebrated the National Science Day to honor the discovery of the Raman effect by Sir C.V. Raman on 28th February with great zeal and enthusiasm. The theme for this year's National Science Day celebrations was Fostering Scientific Temper. The National Council for Science and Technology Communication Division, under the aegis of the Department of Science and Technology, on this occasion honored and awarded prominent Indian scientists for their outstanding contribution in communication of science and technology and promoting the scientific temper which had the widest impact in the country during the past 5 years. Under this, the National Award for Outstanding Efforts in Science and Technology Communication in general was awarded to Dr. K.K. Agarwal, New Delhi, and the Society of Pollution and Environment Conservation Scientists, Dehradun. While Dr. Om Prakash Sharma, IGNOU, Maidangadi, New Delhi, Shri Himant Achyut Lagvankar, Maharashtra, Shri Bhabesh Mahanta, Assam, and Dr. N. Rajgopalan, Chennai, were awarded the National Award for Outstanding Efforts in Science and Technology Communication through the print media, including books and magazines.
I have been able to communicate to the people scientifically as far as health awareness is concerned. I have created low-cost modules. Run for Your Heart was first Run for Your Heart was done by me. Perfect Health Mela concept we brought out to communicate scientific health. If I want to create health education, if I add science into it, that becomes scientific communication. We have created 1000 health sutras, plus we are educating people on cardiopulmonary resuscitation scientifically so that they can save lives.
The National Award for Outstanding Efforts in Science and Technology Popularization among Children was awarded to Shri Jaswinder Singh, Punjab, and Dr. Kailash Chandra Goswami, Assam. These national awards have been instituted by the National Council for Science and Technology Communication in 1987 to stimulate, encourage, and recognize outstanding efforts in the area of science popularization and communication and promoting the scientific temper. The NCSTC has also been actively coordinating the various programs related to celebration of the National Science Day throughout the country every year.
Union Cabinet of India has approved the mission document on the National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem. This mission has been launched during the 12th five-year plan period with its primary objective to save Himalayan glaciers, managing natural disasters and sustaining Himalayan ecosystem. Let us take a look at this report.
Climate change and deteriorating ecosystems have emerged as a major concern requiring immediate action in recent years. In order to achieve the goals of sustainable development and preservation of natural systems, the government has been introducing novel policies and projects from time to time. In this context, the Union Cabinet on 28th February 2014 approved the mission document on the National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem, NMSHE. This mission has been launched under the National Action Plan on Climate Change, NAPCC. The budget for implementation of the mission will be 550 crore rupees during the 12th five-year plan period. This national mission is to be coordinated by the Department of Science and Technology through the establishment of a mission cell at its Climate Change Program Division. The primary objective of this national mission is to maintain the Himalayan ecosystem and develop the capacity to continuously monitor its health status, along with formulating policies to promote sustainable development in 12 mountainous states. The 12 Himalayan states covered by the mission include Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, Assam, and West Bengal. Other than these, the NMSHE also attempts to address a variety of important issues. These include studying the Himalayan glaciers and their effect on water resources and prediction and management of natural hazards. The NMSHE will also assist in the ongoing restoration and rehabilitation process of Uttarakhand, which was devastated in last year's floods. The mission is aimed to benefit the marginalized communities of the Himalayan region.
Health Department has taken an important step in order to save India from polio virus. As a preventive measure to stop polio virus from coming to India, all the travellers coming from and going to Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Syria, Kenya, Somalia, Nigeria and Pakistan would be required to take the oral polio vaccine, which is OPV. All travellers coming from these countries to India would need to take OPV 6 weeks before departure from their country.
Completing 3 years without any reported cases of polio, India was declared a polio-free nation by the WHO in February this year. Now, as a preventive measure to stop the importation of the polio virus and prevent fresh outbreaks of polio in the country, it has been made mandatory for India-bound travellers from 7 countries of the world to be administered with the oral polio vaccine OPV 6 weeks before departure. The new rule took effect from the 1st of March 2014 and is applicable to travellers from Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Syria, Kenya, Somalia, Nigeria and Pakistan, as these countries still report polio cases. Indians headed for these countries will also be administered the vaccine. India has also declared that any case of polio virus will be treated as an emergency. This new preventive measure has been initiated as per the recommendations of the national and international expert bodies and guidelines of the WHO. In this context, India has also set up continuous immunization posts along the borders with Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar and Bhutan. There are 102 such posts till date and nearly 4.2 million children immunized in the past 2 years.
The Indian Council for Medical Research, that is ICMR, has issued a mandatory code of conduct for research scientists. Now, all the research work in the field of sciences will be done under this code only. Let us know more from this report.
While modern biology and biotechnology offer novel ways of manipulating natural processes to arrive at highly useful products, these technologies also pose grave danger of being misused purposefully or unintentionally to harm living organisms and the environment. The use of the anthrax bacteria as a means of bioterrorism has been a major concern in recent years. It is postulated that the indiscriminate use of toxic chemicals and genetic modification can result in the development of highly infectious and drug-resistant microbes which can prove fatal to humankind. With the aim of preventing the misuse of scientific research for bioterrorism and biowarfare, the Indian Council of Medical Research, the ICMR, has issued a mandatory ethical code of conduct for research scientists working in the field of life sciences. This code of conduct aims to ensure that all research activities involving microbes, other biological agents or toxins, irrespective of their origin or method of production, are only of types and in quantities that have justification for peaceful purposes like disease diagnosis, treatment, surveillance programs and research. This code of conduct will be applicable to all life science researchers and binds them against scientific research involving dangerous organisms and toxic weapons against any living being or the environment. The code says that scientists engaged in biological research should be aware of the potential risks and concerns relating to their area of research and their ethical responsibilities. It mandates the researchers to comply with the requirements of international conventions and treaties relevant to their research work.
8th March is celebrated as International Women's Day all over the world. Vigyan Prasar held a discussion on this occasion in the national capital. A video series on the life and work of women scientists named Scientifically Yours was also inaugurated on the occasion.
Vigyan Prasar and Niskar have developed an inspirational video series titled Scientifically Yours on Indian women scientists who helped in shaping Indian science. The highlights of the series were shown today on the eve of International Women's Day here in New Delhi. The series on Indian women scientists is a unique one, as this section of society has not been sufficiently covered in the country. This is an effort to bring the living women legends in science onto center stage with their achievements and contributions and communicate to the youth of the country.
Today, science and technology is in good hands in our country because there is excellence. And the 50% population is today at least represented on this screen.
A panel discussion with the scientists who are part of the film, having such an inspirational film for motivating young students in science and sharing their experiences in making the film, was also organized on the occasion.
Look at the Nobel audience. Right from the beginning of the history of Nobel Prize, you hardly have 1 or maybe 2% of women scientists in that. I think it's very unfortunate.
The series covers the selected living women scientists, highlighting their achievements and advancements and journey made by them in Indian science.
And with that, time to take a very short break. We will be back with more science-related news, so stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Science Monitor, and now let us take a look at some other scientific developments all across the country.
The Union Cabinet approved the additional fund requirement of 465 crore rupees for the development of ISRO's GSLV rocket. This includes 3 experimental flights of LVM-3X and GSLV Mark 3D1 and GSLV Mark 3D2. Earlier, the government had approved the allocation of 2,962.78 crore rupees for the purpose, which has now been revised to 2,962.78 crore rupees. National Science Day was celebrated by Haritama Society of Hansraj College, Delhi University.
We celebrate this as National Science Day to commemorate what C.V. Raman did. He got Nobel Prize for Raman effect, and to just make it important and make everybody know about the importance of science, this day is celebrated all over.
On this occasion, students participated in debate, painting and rangoli competitions. At the premises of the giant meter-wave radio telescope, located about 80 kilometers from Pune, a grand exhibition was organized on the occasion of National Science Day. It was attended by thousands of school students. The students also got to get a visit to the GMRT, which is the world's largest radio telescope at its frequencies of operation. The annual Innovation Exhibition is being organized at the sports ground of Rashtrapati Bhavan from the 7th to the 13th of March, which will be inaugurated by President Pranab Mukherjee. Over 41 new avatar technologies will be on display at the exhibition this year, out of which 7 innovative technologies have been developed by students. The DRDO recently organized the 4-day International Conference on Optics and Optoelectronics in Dehradun. The conference was inaugurated by Defence Research and Development Organisation Director General Avinash Chandar. The event was attended by about 500 scientists from India and abroad.
Every year, International Women's Day is celebrated across the globe. Politicians, academicians, social workers and activists participate in debates and discuss various issues related to women. We must acknowledge that women are contributing to every domain of human life and have created a niche for themselves in every field. They are there as politicians, writers, leaders, managers, corporates, scientists, educators and whatnot. On this International Women's Day, we at Science Monitor acknowledge the role of women as science educators and their contribution to teaching of science at higher education institutions.
As the popular saying goes, by educating a man, we educate an individual. But by educating a woman, the whole family is educated. So good women science educators and teachers are going to play an important role in developing a scientifically aware society. Science education is witnessing a huge overhaul across the globe. It is witnessing changes and paradigm shifts in policy matters across the world. It is considered important that science education should foster the scientific way of life where the traditional belief system is questioned and certain set notions that have no scientific basis are challenged. With the old world view of science education showing science are becoming dysfunctional, a paradigm shift is underway in the field of science education, and teaching of science at all levels of academic hierarchy is required. And women across the world are making enormous contributions to science education sector. In India also, the percentage of women teachers in schools has been increasing steadily in recent years. From 43.46% in 2008-2009, it rose to 44.83% in 2009-2010 and 45.51% in 2010-2011, and the increase is more in the last 2 years. A cursory look at websites of the top 50 universities of the world clearly depicts that around 50% of the teaching faculty in chemical sciences, medical sciences and paramedical sciences are women. In fact, their contribution is acknowledged by the world academic community, and many women professors have won awards, citations and recognition for their contributions in the field of science education. One of the eminent ladies who has made a mark in science teaching is Ms. Mary Lyon, an educator ahead of her time. She did 7 courses in sciences and mathematics for graduation, a requirement unheard of at other female seminaries in the early 19th century. She introduced to women a new and unusual way to learn science, laboratory experiments that they performed themselves. She invited distinguished scientists to give lectures and inspired women to pursue careers in the sciences as scholars, teachers and researchers. Suzanne Lee May Sheffield, Associate Director Programs for the Centre for Learning and Teaching at Dalhousie University, Halifax, and associated with Oxford University, London, has also made immense contributions in science education. Professor Mary Beth Klinger was recently named among the top 25 women professors in Maryland. Laura Talman, James Madison University, an inspirational teacher who makes advanced mathematics both accessible and fun, has been recognized for her influencing students beyond the classroom, and her published textbooks have extended her reach to campuses around the world. Maura Borijo, Virginia Tech University, has helped to update Virginia Tech's approach to cultivating female engineers. At a time when educators debate how to get more girls interested in STEM or science, technology, engineering and mathematics careers, Professor Borijo has created unprecedented courses without the help of established textbooks. She keeps her students on the cutting edge of science and technology. Dr. Ratna Naik, Indian Roots, has been awarded the WSU Distinguished Graduate Faculty Award for 2013. She earned her PhD from West Virginia University and is now both a professor in and the chair of the WSU Physics and Astronomy Department. The shift started in the 1990s when the government launched Operation Blackboard, reserving 50% of jobs in schools for women. Women science educators in the United States of America, Belgium and Australia have also emphasized on the need to provide opportunities for women in important technological areas and also to reduce gender imbalance in the sphere of engineering and technology. In the topmost universities of India also, women professors are getting recognition for their contribution to teaching and research in science. Rajeshwari Chatterjee, the first woman scientist to pioneer the field of microwave engineering in India, who was at the IISc Bangalore, distinguished herself not only for her research contributions, but also as a considerate and caring teacher. Students could easily approach her even for their personal problems and for help. For young women students, she was a role model, an inspiration to march ahead in the profession in absolute simplicity. She was a science teacher par excellence. Dr. Paramjit Khurana, Department of Plant Molecular Biology, University of Delhi, South Campus. Professor Kasturi Datta, retired, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. Professor Neera Balla Sareen, Jawaharlal Nehru University. Mitali Mukherjee, Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology. Charu Sita Chakravarti, Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, have been rated as great science educators by the Times of India poll carried out recently. Women professors at the IISc, the TIFR and ISSRs across India are also contributing immensely to make science education accessible and interesting to all. In many countries of Southeast Asia such as Iran, Iraq, Pakistan and Malaysia, women science teachers are working very hard to foster science education and talent. Chinese and Japanese science education is progressing by leaps and bounds by participatory science education. This International Women's Day, let us pay our salutes to these ladies and many more who are working in various areas and deserves all the respect.
And what has been this week's contribution in the development of science? Let's find out in our segment History of Science.
Human voice was transmitted over the telephone for the first time in history when Alexander Graham Bell, the Scottish researcher, used the electric telephone to transmit the famous sentence, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." Bell was awarded the first patent for the electric telephone by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Sir William Herschel, the British astronomer, reported the discovery of the planet Uranus. With its name derived from the Greek god of the sky, Uranus, Uranus is the 7th planet in the solar system and the 4th largest planet. Uranus has a ring system and because of the presence of ice made of water, ammonia and methane, is often called an ice giant. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest physicists in world history, was born in Germany. Einstein is known for the development of the general theory of relativity, the mass-energy equivalence formula E is equal to mc squared, and the law of photoelectric effect. For his outstanding contributions to theoretical physics, Einstein was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921.
And how do you find our program Science Monitor? Do send in your comments and suggestions through email. Our email address is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also send in your suggestions by post. Our address is Vigyan Prasar, C24, Kudub Institutional Area, New Delhi, 110016. And that's all we have for you in today's edition of Science Monitor. We shall meet again next week with more dosage of science news and exciting information. Till then, goodbye and take care.